Radio check.
Let's do it, baby. Let's do it.
You're now tuned in.
Let's go
to CONVO-19.
Turn it up
with Keith Austin and Georgie Sippin' 40.
What's up, everybody? We got a very special episode. Today we've got a guest, and he's one of the unsung heroes of the underground Tennessee scene. Introduce yourself.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's the real Prince Michael here, man. I appreciate y'all having me on the show, man. I look forward to answering these questions, hollering at y'all, touching on some topics, letting y'all know what's going on, and talking about some things on here with y'all. What's up?
Me and Nashvillain, we've had personal conversations. There's a lot of things about Nashvillain people don't know that I don't even know, and I'm eager to learn more about him. And I'm eager for him to get his story out to people that just haven't heard, maybe have heard of him, but not many of the things that he's actually been involved in that have happened in the local scene. So let's start like this. We're both from a little small town across the mountain, little Dunlap, Tennessee. We have ties to that area. You graduated from Sequatchie County High School, right?
Yeah, 2000.
Okay. From what years did you attend?
The high school or Sequatchie County?
Sequatchie County.
We moved to Sequatchie County, man, in second grade. I was in second grade and went to Griffith Elementary. From second grade on, I was in school in Sequatchie. From second grade until high school, until we finished high school.
Okay. So at what point does a young Nash say, I want to do rap music? This is what I want to be involved with.
Okay. Man, it was, I guess, 97, the summer of 97, when, Tupac, Biggie, all of that was really like the topic in the rap world. That was what was going on. Tupac had just been killed the year before, and Biggie, their music was hot. I was listening to rap. Bone Thugs and Harmony came out. That was a big influence on me. And then, being originated from Nashville, which is where my mom's side of the family is from, all my mom's side of the family, back to my granny, great-grandfathers, grandparents, uncles, cousins, and everybody are from Nashville. So in the summers and sometimes every other weekend, we would go to Nashville, which is just a few hours away from Dunlap, and I would stay with my granny. While I was staying there in the summer of 97 for a few weeks, there was a kid who lived down the street. His name was Derek. And Derek had a CD. It was a blank CD. And it had a kid on it named Haystak. Now, I was 16 at the time.
Now, at the time, was Haystak popping around Nashville?
No, this was his introduction. This was the introduction of Haystak. This was his first album. And like I said, this wasn't even an album that Derek had. This was a burned copy of the music. So it wasn't even an album out yet on Stack. But anyway, I burned a copy of that and brought that back to Dunlap with me. And then for the rest of that summer, the summer of 97, I would go on to introduce Haystak to a few of my homies, few of my friends from the Lap and the Valley, and that CD ended up getting burned until, everybody was riding around bumping that Haystak. The thing that I most related to and gravitated to with Stack was the fact that he was a Caucasian rapper. Now this was, in the late 90s, you got to think this was right after the era. Beastie Boys were really the only ones who were representing Caucasians in the hip hop world at that point. So I was intrigued and interested in the fact that, Stack was white. I mean, he was out here rapping. So I was like, okay, not to mention it sounded good.
Are there any recognizable songs that were on that little demo you had?
Oh yeah, of course. My favorite song of the original music from that CD, which was A Car Full of White Boys, was the song called Dollar.
Okay.
There's a song called Dollar on there. Also, Car Full of White Boys was on there.
Yeah.
Wreckin', A lot of these songs, the people that know Stack's music today don't even really recollect these songs.
Yeah.
Some of them.
Car Full of White Boys is a classic. I had no idea that was on the first demo.
Right.
So at what point did you start getting involved with people like Haystak? Like you had
Well,
the demo. When did you actually did you reach out to him or did he reach out to you or?
well, actually, what had happened was after high school, Dunlap, anybody who knows or has been to Dunlap, Tennessee, knows it's a small town nestled in the valley of the Sequatchie Valley. It's not very highly populated. Everybody knows everybody. And it's really not much room for success there if you're trying to make it in an industry that doesn't exist there. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I had to get out of there and make a way for myself. Not to mention, it was just harder growing up there than most would realize, being that I had like those aspirations of the city. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? You
and
don't have that.
this is the thing I want to point out about Dunlap. Not only does it not exist there, it's frowned upon there.
Right, right.
Very
That
frowned
is,
upon.
yeah, facts, facts. But my grandmother was a positive inspiration and motivation in my life. She lived in Nashville. So once high school was over and everything, and I could actually, tell my parents I'm out of here, I did. I went and moved in with my grandmother in 2000 in Nashville. And from that point, I just started moving around. I think my first job that I got was I was like cleaning carpets or something like that, like loading a carpet cleaner into a car every day and like going around, door to door trying to get people to let us clean their carpets. Me and my homeboy Peanut, and you know, we was only like 18 at the time. I didn't go on to meet Stack until I guess I was about 20 years old. This would be a couple years later, I think 2002. And I didn't meet Stack first. I met Alexander King.
Okay.
So I met Alex, and when we met, it was at a Lil Wyte concert in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. So this was I guess, let me see. So that was '04. That was '04 that happened. It wasn't '02. It was '04. Um, because even when I moved to Nashville, I ended up moving back to Chattanooga like a year later. I moved back to Chattanooga, then back to Nashville the next year. But '04, I was in Murfreesboro going to college at MTSU. So I was going to college at MTSU. I was a fan of the music, Lil Wyte, Haystak, that whole little underground scene,
Yeah.
representing for the white boys. And there was a concert in Murfreesboro, and I said, all right, I'm gonna go. I seen Lex there. Lex, which a lot of people don't know him by Lex, they know him by Alexander King. Lex was Haystak's hype man in the beginning.
Yeah.
That's how it all started with them. You see what I'm saying? For 2 years, Lex was the hype man. I'd been seeing them on the road doing shows. They came to Murfreesboro. I went to meet him. I met Lex. I said, man, I really love what y'all are doing. I love the moves and everything that y'all are making, everything like that. I want to be a part of this. Like, how do I be a part of this? Like, what can I do? Like, what can I do to help you? Like, how can I get on? Like, do you need anything? Like, what's up? So he got my number and we got the number. And then I think like within a couple of days, uh, either he called me or I called him, and we was connected, vibing, and we was getting it in, putting in work. He was out there. He was working on the Start to Finish DVD at that point for Stack. Stack was on his like third studio album. It was called Start to Finish, and with that album, there came a DVD out with it. And on that DVD, Alex was the one who directed and produced that whole DVD. Um, he also was working on a DVD at the time called White Boys Can't Rap. It was a DVD that came out and was released in 2005 under EMG Evolution Music Group was the record label that we were rocking with at the time that Alex had started in Murfreesboro, and we were also pushing mixtapes out of the trunk. I had the I-24 mixtape. Jelly Roll had the Deal or No Deal, Gambling on a White Boy. I
Yeah.
think Volume 1 and all that stuff. And Struggle had the Trying to Eat mixtape. Those were the first mixtapes. But all of these mixtapes were being pressed off of the press, and they were being like, they were hard copies. And we were literally going in and out of town, moving these CDs out of the trunk.
Okay.
Now in 2005 and 2004, there's a car show in Lebanon, Tennessee called Slammin' and Jammin', and they used to have it every year, but they stopped having it in like 07, 08. But that's where I first made my connection with Haystak. That's where I first met Haystak and was introduced to Haystak. And I believe like even the first time I met Stack, he had been hearing about me because of my hustle game and because of what I was doing with the mixtapes and the DVDs and everything that we were putting out. You know, I was hand to hand with those, and I was doing numbers. You know what I'm saying? I was doing big numbers. I mean, I'm talking about tens of thousands of units over the year, over those few years, over those from 04 to 06, 07. I mean, we pushed at least 30, 40,000 units independently out of the trunk, $10 a piece. But when I met Stack in 04, no, 05, this is when Slammin' Jammin' was. I think it was in the spring of 05. I met him, and then he bought 20 of my mixtapes right out the jump. You know, we had like a little vendor booth set up, Alex did, to promote the Car Full of White. I mean, to promote the White Boys Can't Rap DVD, to promote the Start to Finish DVD. And then at the same time, we was hanging around there selling our mixtapes too. So when Stack showed me love like that, and he came out of his pocket and gave me that $200, was like, give me 20 of them, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And everything like that. It kind of just, that sparked it up right there. That jumped it off right there.
Yeah, that's always a great feeling when you make those sales. And especially when it's somebody like that, like that type of figure that is showing love.
Yeah, especially, you know, considering at this time, I'm still 22, 23 years old. You know what I'm saying? So to me, these are people that I was like listening to as a 16, 17-year-old. And now I'm getting the chance to meet them. Not only am I getting the chance to meet them, they're showing me some love too.
Yeah.
So it felt good. It felt real. And it was a lot stronger than it is today. You know,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that have happened along the way as far as with this technology and with you know, Facebook and Instagram and everything else that's kind of like divided the family that started originally. And then once everybody started catching on to it, you got to remember, you got that fourth wall. You know, you got these people that are looking in from the outside. You start getting all their interjections. You start getting everything that they're saying, you know, and it just starts crossing over each other. You know, you're going to get the hate. You're going to get some love. You're going to get some hate. But the more it all started happening and the more we all started growing, we all went our own separate ways and started doing our own thing. You know, we're growing up. We're not kids anymore.
Yeah.
But
was it easier back in the days before the internet streaming became so popular to be a part of the community that you were in compared to now? Like when you were actually pushing CDs and going to these events and all this stuff, and now anybody can just upload a song to SoundCloud.
Yeah. It was definitely more a genuine feel. It was something that was more real. You know, it was like you actually had to get out there and put in the work. You couldn't just click a button and upload it, and anyone couldn't go buy some software and record. You got to remember, you know, we're talking about 15, 20 plus years ago, you know, 15 plus years ago here. So you got to think there wasn't no technology available where you could go and buy software and upload it on your laptop and sound like what your favorite artist.
Yeah. How did you record your first song? Did you actually go to a studio or was it in somebody's house? Or
my first song that I recorded was actually in Dunlap, Tennessee. I was recording before I met Alex and Stack. I was recording actually, and some of y'all know him, but John Smith Solo from Tennessee. That's a really good friend of mine. You know, we graduated, we grew up together, we were in the same grade, so you know, we grew up together and everything like that. But me and him actually was rapping, and we was recording over at
Muddy's house.
No, Muddy
Oh,
wasn't rapping yet. See,
yeah,
Muddy was a little younger than us, so he was still in high school, I think, whenever we were out moving around. Muddy came along a few years later, once like Tennessee Pushers and Instigator came along, and it was Instigator, Muddy Water, and Solo.
yeah.
So that happened a few years later. But Jeremy Seifert, I don't know if you've ever heard that name or not. Jeremy Seifert.
I've never heard.
Rest in peace to my dog. You know what I'm saying? He passed away a couple of years from cancer. But that's where I actually recorded my first song at. And if you know where the Tecumseh plant used to be at,
Yeah,
over there,
yeah.
or you've ever seen like that road that runs behind the Tecumseh plant,
Yeah.
right there,
Like that little
then
hill.
yeah, that little hill, exactly. There used to be a double wide that sit right there on that side road that runs beside Walmart in Dunlap. There was a double wide that sit right there at that stop sign, and that was Jeremy's house, and that's where the first song that I recorded ever came out of. It sounded like crap.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just
This
because
is
we
one
didn't.
thing I want to ask because you were there during this era. Muddy had a great fucking quality, great sound.
Yeah, shout out to Muddy.
How long did it take from the beginning? Because you said Muddy came in later than y'all. How long did it take him to acquire that sound, like
Oh, it
to
was
get that
instant.
skill?
It was instant.
And that's
I
so
mean,
crazy because
I
that
remember.
that music from that era from y'all was just some of the best quality. Like it could still stand up to today's industry standard, and that's what
No
blows
doubt.
my mind.
And one thing about that music that we were making and stuff like that, I just don't feel like it ever got a proper launch. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? It never got the exposure to the world that if it had gotten would have helped everyone that was involved. You see what I'm saying?
yeah.
It never got the push.
What do you think could have been done differently to push it more than what it got?
I don't even know, man, because see, at the time, I feel like we was doing everything we thought we could. We
Yeah,
was doing everything that we thought we were supposed to be doing to make it what it was. I mean, there wasn't another thing that I feel like I could have done to make it any more, or I would have did it. And I know
yeah,
Muddy would have too. I know any of us would have. You know, even Jelly and Struggle and everybody.
yeah,
Like, I mean, we were all pushing it as hard as we possibly could. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. All the way from Bury Me to Tennessee, the first Hero, all that music from that era, the 2000 in Tennessee, all that shit was so good, and it just never got the recognition it deserved. And I always wondered why.
Yeah, me too, man. It's discouraging. It's really discouraging at times, and I can even say that it played a factor in some of the reasons why some of these family members we're talking about, because that's what I consider them, family. You know what I'm saying? Their paths like dwindling. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? That light going out. You know what I'm saying? Because the flame was up, but it's like we just didn't have the gas.
yeah,
We didn't have the gas to keep the fire going, and it's just like it's discouraging. Because yeah, I mean, there's times that I've listened to some of that music and just been like, man, dude, this should be
because it
all over the
still
world.
stands today. Like I can still listen to those songs, and they still give me a feeling. And I don't know if that's just because we're from here and it just means something to us, but I feel like anybody could listen to it and feel some type of way with it.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And I don't know where Muddy is today, but haven't heard much from him.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Not to get
And that
too
was
off.
always, to me, that was Muddy was always the one. To me, I was like, dude,
Yeah,
this guy got it. Like, if
yeah,
anybody's gonna make it from where I'm from, like I could have seen it being him.
yeah,
And it just kills me that nothing happened because I think back and I'm like, damn, if Muddy could have just pushed a little harder or something and just got out there and paved that way, like I feel like it would have opened a lot of doors for everybody.
yeah. And that's the thing about it, man. I don't feel like it's anything Muddy did or didn't do, or any one of us. I just feel like the support wasn't there.
Yeah.
Like it's just like when you're doing something like what we was doing and you're making that music and even like what you're doing, you know, and what y'all are doing, it's like you would think that the people would get behind you and support it, but they really don't, man. They try to stop it any way they can, man. They try to
Yeah.
hate on it any way they can. They try to cause division between and amongst you and your people.
And
You know,
even within the own cliques, like you can always have those people around and y'all work together for so long and you think you're so close, but if they see you start pushing a little bit farther, they kind of back off or they kind of like want to discredit you or discourage you or something. And I don't know. It's just always happens like that.
yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. You know, you got to keep pushing through it, though. That's what it really comes down to. To see where we are 20 years later and to see the success some of my brothers have had, to see some of the platforms they're standing on. I mean, it's an amazing thing, you know, to watch, but it's like one of them things where it's just like, you know, had we given up 10 years ago, it wouldn't be what it is today. It took 20 years to get where we are right now.
Yeah. Um, were there ever points in your time span of doing this that you were like, I'm about to make it?
Yeah, there were. I guess the highest point for me was 2012, well, 2013 and 2015. 2013, I won the Coast to Coast down in Miami. And that was like a competition of, you know, 50 of the nation's top artists that Coast to Coast had went to each state and took the top artists out of that state or whatever they had taken that won, and then you all meet in Miami. Um, you know, I didn't win no competition to get into that competition. I paid $1,000 to get into the competition, and I paid my money, and I went down, and I was in the competition. It was in Miami in 2013, and I won that competition. So whenever I won that, they gave me $2,500, and they also gave me a beat package, and they sent me to New York to meet with Lil Wayne's producer up in New York or whatever. They said it was Lil Wayne's producer. Like, he didn't seem like to me he had worked with Wayne or anybody else. He just seemed like some dude, you know what I'm saying, with some beats. And like,
Yeah.
you know, they were supposed to give me a couple of beats. I did a mixtape with French Montana and the Coast to Coast mixtape lives that was collaborated or whatever.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it never got put on any platforms. I was on the cover of Coast to Coast magazine or whatever, and it never really did anything. But the way I felt when I won it and the way that they made me feel, like, this is it. You made it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you made it. You're going to New York. You're going to meet the producers. Like, we're going to get you back down here. We're putting you on the cover of the magazine. This going to lead to the cover of XXL. This going to lead to the cover of Source. This going to lead to you getting out here and doing all this and everything else. And it just kind of fizzled out.
And it's a good thing to always think about the good things that have happened during your time in the game. Like, we always sit and think about, damn, I uploaded that song and it didn't get as many plays as I thought it would, or it didn't get as much love as I thought it would. But we always forget to think about there were those times that I felt on top of the world with it.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I did too. And it's a great feeling, man. And the thing about me is, there's a lot of misunderstandings about me and how I feel about my brothers and even other artists in this game. And it's like, man, I want everybody to know what it feels like to feel like that. You know what I'm saying? I want everybody to feel that feeling. I want everybody to know what it feels like to feel successful at what you're trying to do. And you know, a lot of people tend to associate me with hatefulness, and they seem to think that I'm arrogant and that I don't want to see us succeed and I don't want to see other people win and stuff like that. And that's just not the case. Honestly, man, I haven't really ever met anyone that wanted it more than me, you know, for everyone. 2015 was the next time that I felt like I made it. And that was when I was in Hollywood working with Hollywood Hot Sauce and Rodney Jerkins from Dark Child Entertainment. Rodney Jerkins lined up some things with me, tried to set me up with a manager, Manny Harrell. They took me to Interscope Records. There was some money on the table. There was a deal on the table. They wanted to put me on tour with Nicki Minaj and Drake. And the thing about it is at the time I was already straight. as far as the money goes. I was already straight, and the money that they was trying to offer me, I felt like I was worth more. And I'll go ahead and tell you what it was. It was 400,000. They wanted to offer me 400,000 and then put me on a 60 show tour date in Europe with Nicki Minaj and Drake at the time. And if you go back and look, you can see that they was on tour in Europe at this time. But
Yeah.
this is what they were trying to get me to do. Had I signed that deal, they would have flew me to Europe. That's where I would have been. Who knows where I would be today? Who knows if we would be having this conversation right now, if we would even know each other, or if we would even be talking, if I would even still be alive, anything like that. There's just no telling. The thing about it is I told them, give me $2 million. I told them, give me
Yeah,
$2 million.
400,000 for a Drake Nicki Minaj tour just seems very low ball.
No, that wasn't for the tour. That was for the album. They wanted me to do the albums. The $400,000 was the budget. They wanted me to sign for the $400,000 and then use the $400,000 for my project.
Okay.
They wanted to give me a Challenger, like a SRT8 Challenger car. You know what I'm saying? Just off the strength, off the muscle. But the money was going to be used for features, was going to be used for production, was going to be used for everything else. So I wasn't going to see that money.
Yeah.
I wasn't even going to get that money. That money was like simply a loan for me to do my project.
Say you would have took that 400,000 to a project. Who would you have reached out to for features with that kind of budget? Because it could have been anybody.
Yeah, for sure. At that point, I mean, I was actually talking to Hollywood Hot Sauce about he was working tough with Young Jeezy at the time. So I was thinking about, man, I'm gonna get a Jeezy feature. I'm gonna get Busy Bone and Crazy Bone, because those were always two of my favorite artists. You know what I'm saying? They weren't blowing up out here, nothing at the time or whatever. But it was just like, hey, if I can get anybody I want, that's I'm gonna do that. But the production was gonna go through Dark Child Entertainment, which is in Hollywood, California, and everything was gonna be worked through them, man. But after I told them that I wanted $2 million, they just laughed at me. Like, they basically said, like, who the fuck are you? Like, you're not even worth what we're giving you. You know what I'm saying? They're like, we're just doing that off the strength that you were brought to us by these guys.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? These guys are saying you're the truth. But at the end of the day, all it comes down to is they were impressed by the flash.
Yeah.
They were impressed by what I was doing out there in the streets. Didn't have nothing to do with the music, because they were laughing at me and telling me, like, how you gonna ask for $2 million when you don't even got 200 followers on Instagram?
Yeah.
You don't even got 5,000 friends on Facebook. Like, you don't even got no views on any of your music or your videos and everything. And I'm telling them, like, well, that's just in my heart what I feel like I'm worth. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it ended up being an issue, man. It ended up being a problem between us. After that all went south, it ended up being a problem so bad that they tried to tell me that I was banned from the city. You know what I'm saying? Like, I needed to get out of the city, or I was gonna face repercussions if I didn't get out of the city. And we're talking about LA, Hollywood. So tried to make it out like if I didn't leave, something would happen. You know what I'm saying? And I wasn't worried about it. I didn't leave. I showed up at Chris Brown's birthday party like 3 days later, pulled up in the Ferrari, you know what I'm saying? Right out front. You know what I'm saying? Red carpet, went in, popped about 15 bottles with my homies. Dropped about 3 racks at Chris Brown's birthday party that night. You know what I'm saying? They didn't do nothing. Nobody did anything to me. But they definitely was trying to boo game me and tell me, you know what I'm saying, get away from here. But I ain't tripping. It's all good.
Okay, so let's bring it back local.
Okay.
There's a lot of shit that you've been involved in with behind the scenes that a lot of people don't know about. Do you want to speak on any of that?
Like what?
What are some things that Nashvillain has done in the game for local artists? We could talk about Blackfly. We could talk about Jelly Roll. We could talk about anything. Like,
Yeah.
you've been involved in so many different things that just people have no idea about.
Yeah, for instance, let's take it back to 2009. Let's take it back to the Pop a Pill video. You know what I'm saying? Let's take it back to the Lil Wyte Jelly Roll Pop a Pill video. A lot of people out there have a misunderstanding of what part I played in that. And the thing about it is without me, that video would never even exist. See what I'm saying? That was my house that we shot the video at. Those were all my people down there that were in the video. Now I paid Lil Wyte $5,000 to come down and do the feature for Jelly. You know what I'm saying? I paid for everyone's condos that weekend. I paid for everyone's food that weekend and everyone's entourages. I paid for the Mike Busey and all his crew to come down and shoot the video for Jelly and Wyte. You know what I'm saying? Another $5,000. About $20,000 went into that video. You know what I'm saying? As far as like overall expenses and everything included and everything in what it was. And, you know, if you look at that video now and it's still up on YouTube or whatever, it's got, you know, millions of views. I don't know how many, 3, 4 million, something like that. But at this time, Jelly wasn't recognized yet. You know, Jelly wasn't out there. His career hadn't took off yet the way it was supposed to. And honestly, and I had this conversation with Wyte just a few years ago in Kentucky. I seen him in Kentucky. And I told Wyte, I said, man, you know, it was always hurtful to me because the thing about it is I didn't ask for anything from y'all. And if you even go and watch that video, you can see me in the video in different places or whatever with them while they're doing their verses and stuff. And honestly, they didn't even want me there. You know what I'm saying? They didn't want me in the shots. You know what I'm saying? But how could they tell me no? See what I'm saying? How could they tell me I can't be in the shots when I'm paying for it? But you can see certain clips, and when you run the video back, and these are just things that I see. You know what I'm saying? Other people ain't gonna be able to see it. But there's times where like I'm in the shot and then it gets cut. I get cut out. You know what I'm saying? It's like you get cut out, or the camera will pan up so you can't really see me. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe my face is like this. You know what I'm saying? So you can only see. Like it's just some stupid ass shit that I know. It's just some hateful ass shit, which I don't understand why people would do that, especially whenever I'm contributing to the cause and for the team. But it's like that. You know what I'm saying? It's like that. And it's always been hurtful to me. So the conversation me and Wyte had in Kentucky was, I was like, Wyte, man, you got to understand, man, I never got a thank you for that. I never even got a thank you from any of y'all. Yeah. You know, I didn't ask for any money. I've never asked you for any features. I've never asked you to do anything for free for me. You know, I've booked you shows all over the South. You know, I've brought money into your camp, Jelly's camp, our camp. You know, I've done all these things. I've never even got so much as a thank you. And I'll tell you what Wyte said, man. Wyte was like, damn, you know, that's real, man. I never noticed that. He's like, well, man, thank you. I appreciate it. And that was the first time. That was the first time anyone had told me thank you. You know what I'm saying? For something I had done. But I don't know what people thought I did it for or why people, you know, always gravitated away from me. But I wasn't doing it for nothing. I believed in it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I believed in them. And when they came to Panama City, anytime they came to Panama City, it was on my account. It was on my account and it was on my face. And anywhere they went, they were VIP. Anybody they linked with was through me. Now, what they did with that connection after they got it, if they came back and met them people a year later, if they came back and got VIP access a year later, 2 years later, 5 years later, 10 years, it doesn't matter because ultimately I started those relationships for them because I wanted them to be able to come to that city and have all access to it, have the keys. You know what I'm saying? Because those were my brothers. I felt like they were family. I felt like I was doing it for the cause. I wasn't doing it for my own personal benefit because ultimately it didn't benefit me personally. Ultimately, it cost me financially. Yeah. See what I'm saying? My family had to sit while I went and did things for these people. My family was over here like, why are you spending this money? Why are you spending this money on that? You know what I'm saying? Like, and there were times where even my girl at the time would tell me, like, they don't fuck with you like that. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not with you.
Did you see that at the time, or were you blinded by the flash?
A little bit. I could see it, you know. But you got to think at this point, we're 5-6 years into it, you know.
And you have so much investment.
Yeah. It was something that I was fully invested in, like not financially, but my heart. You know,
Yeah.
my heart was fully into it. Even once Ritz hit the scene, and even 2012, 13, White Jesus come out. See what I'm saying? And High Five and all that stuff. See what I'm saying? Even once Ritz hit the mix, you got to understand. See, I was out here traveling, making moves, going around the nation, doing stuff that others wasn't. But everywhere I went, I would tell people about them. See what I'm saying? Everywhere I went, I'd be like, man, you need to listen to Ritz. You need to listen to Jelly Roll. Man, you need to listen to Lil Wyte. Man, they're from Tennessee. Nah, they're from Nashville. Nah, White's from Memphis. See what I'm saying? I would give them the facts. These people didn't know who they were. You know what I'm saying? This is 10 years ago, before everyone's famous. You know, we're all famous now, but this was when nobody knew who they were. See what I'm saying? And I would go and I would take my time and energy. I'd say, hey man, pull up Ritz, pull up High Five, Ritz. You know what I'm saying? Look up YouTube Ritz. Look up Jelly Roll, Pop a Pill. Look up Lil Wyte. You know what I'm saying? Smoke a song. Look up. See what I'm saying? Like I've had so many conversations like that with people in so many different cities and states.
Yeah.
Like along the way, it's like and that's really where we are with it today, man. Me coming back and really just letting them know, like, listen, man, I want my part of the story to be told. You know, y'all have left out some things.
Yeah.
Y'all have left out some things, and I'm willing to fight for it to be heard. You know, if I have to fight for it so that y'all tell it, then that's what it's gonna be. You know, it's all love though. It's no hatred. But
all right, let's get into something entertaining, because you've obviously had a shit ton of experience on the road. You've been here, you've been there, you've been everywhere. What are some fun, crazy, just when you think of all those times being on the road and you went to all these places, what are some stories that stick out in your head?
I don't know. I mean, one that comes to mind while we're talking about Panama City is spring break. I don't know. I think it was 2010. Spring break 2010. We're down there and they have this thing called Panamaniacs. The Panamaniac card will get you in all the little phone parties and all the little parties that they throw during the spring break. You know what I'm saying? This little company that sells these cards. They set up at all the Waffle Houses, sell the little card. If you go down there on spring break, you buy the card. It gets you in all the clubs. You don't got to pay the fee or whatever. So I was connected with them dudes, and I brought Lil Wyte and Jelly down to do a show at Sharky's, and me and Lil Wyte. I mean, dude, you couldn't see. I mean, it's asshole to asshole, shoulder to shoulder in there, and we're in there. We're up on top of the stage rafters. You know what I'm saying? Security's telling us to come down. Me and Lil Wyte up there laughing at each other. We're laughing with each other like, fuck these motherfuckers. Like, we run shit. You know what I'm saying? We're 20 feet up in the air. Could have fallen, broke our necks. You know what I'm saying? Security's literally like trying to start to climb up the rafters to get us. Well, one of the security guards gets up about 2 feet away from me, 3 feet away from me. And he's like, Nash, get the fuck down off the rafters, man, or I'm going to go tell your baby mama you're out here fucking hanging out. And I was like, man, fuck you. So I jumped down off the rafters 20 feet from the like about 20 feet. I jumped down to the bottom. And the security guard jumped down too. Me and him lock up. We're wrestling. We're fighting. Everything like that. He picks me up, body slams me. You know what I'm saying? I get back up. I'm a little dazed or whatever. About that time, the owner of Sharky's, who was my friend, he comes out. He's like, no, leave him alone. That's my boy. You know what I'm saying? Da, da, da. Talking about me. Ended up being like the security guard. His girlfriend worked with my girlfriend, you know what I'm saying, at the Hooters. And he was cool. He knew who I was. I didn't know who he was, but he called me by name. Me and Lil Wyte just looked at each other like, how the fuck does he know me? You know what I'm saying? Like, who is this dude? You know what I'm saying? I'm finna whoop him. Like, it's like, fuck it. Like, but me and him ended up going on to be friends. We ended up going on to be cool. Like, you know, going on to be friends after that or whatever. Another time I can think about in Panama City is when Jelly was down there. We were selling mixtapes. And see, I used to run a nightclub in Panama City called Salty's for 3 years. I was the general manager over there, and I worked the door. So I had a lot of pull. I had a lot of pull with the city, with the police, with everybody. Now Jelly, he's out there in the street handing his mixtapes to the cars as they go down the strip. He's standing there on the side of the road. Now, the police pull up and tell him to stop. They say, stop. getting in the traffic and handing people CDs. Jelly's like, all right, cool. You know what I'm saying? The police pull off. Jelly starts doing it again. He goes right back to handing CDs. And fuck him, you know? It's like, okay. About 5 minutes later, here he come back again with the blue lights on. Pulls up. Whoop, whoop. You know what I'm saying? Pulls up, puts Jelly in handcuffs. All right? He tells you. He sits him in the back of the cop car. He's like, yeah, you're going to jail, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Well, like, I see it from the porch of the club because they're in front of the club handing out the CDs. They're on our property doing it. So I come out there and I see it and I tell him, I'm like, hold on, man. What are you doing, man? Why you got him in the car? You know, what's going on or whatever? He's like, man, this motherfucker, he's like, I told him stop fucking handing CDs to the cars and, you know, getting in traffic and shit like that. He's like, now his ass is going to jail. I was like, nah, man, you can't take that one to jail. You know what I'm saying? I was like, you can't. I was like, come on, man. Like, what's up? And he's like, is this your people? I was like, yeah, it's my people, man. I was like, that's my brother right there. I was like, man, I know he ain't listen. I was like, but he won't do it again, man, or whatever. He's like, man, Nash, you sure? I was like, yeah, man. I was like, that's my brother. You know what I'm saying? So he pulls Jelly out the car and he tells him to turn around. Jelly turns around. He takes the handcuffs off of him and he tells him, he says, man, you better thank this man right here. He said, because otherwise, he said, I want to take your ass to jail. He said, I don't fucking like you. You know what I'm saying? He's like, but because of this man right here, he's like, you're not going to jail tonight. He's like, but if I see you hand one more CD out in this road or whatever, he said, I don't care what anybody says. I'm taking you. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, that was just a time where like I stepped in as big bro, you know what I'm saying? And helped out. You know, there's other times I can think of that reflected off of that later on. You know, 2015, I was at a show in Nashville and it was a coat drive Jelly was doing. And me and Yellow Wolf had some problems at the time. This was like after me and Rich started beefing. This was later in 2015. Like me and Rich started beefing about September 2015. So at the coat drive, Yellow Wolf shows up. I'm backstage and I start talking to him and telling him like, man, what's up, man? Like, you don't want no problems. You know what I'm saying? Da-da-da-da. I'm popping off. I'm doing my villain shit. And Jelly runs backstage, and he's like, whoa, 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 whoa. He's like, y'all, chill out, man. He's like, Nash, please, man, don't do this here. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can't do this here. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's like, and I'll never forget this. And this was really like the day it all kind of changed with me and Jelly, in my heart anyway. But he looked at Yella and he said, Yella, he said, man, you're my brother. And I love you, man. I don't want anything to happen. He's like, and Nash, I've known you for a long time. You know what I'm saying? He's like, can we please do this? But can you see where the correlation was there? Yella's your brother, but you've just known me for a long time.
Yeah.
But Yella didn't get you out of no handcuffs. You know what I'm saying? When you were down in Panama City on probation, not even supposed to be out of the state of Tennessee. See what I'm saying? Had Jelly went to jail that night, it would have violated his shit in Tennessee. He would have went to prison.
Yeah.
Nobody thinks about that stuff, though. But, yeah, Yella's your brother, though. What about the Papa Pill video that I spent all my bread on to make sure that you got out there? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just little things like that that have happened along the way that make me feel the way I feel. That really, you know, a lot of people can't understand my aggression or my anger, and they can't really see that it's from the pain and the betrayal, man. It's not because I want to be mad. Nobody wants to be mad. It's not fun. But at the same time, it's hurtful. It's just hurtful.
Yeah.
All good, though.
Let's get into the Black Fly stuff. For anybody if anybody is in the Tennessee music, if you're a fan of the Tennessee music, then you know what Black Fly is. It was Charlie P, Nashvillain, and a lot of people don't know it was Nashvillain. It was just a huge fucking YouTube platform. They had videographers all throughout Tennessee and just the Southeast. How did that connection happen? He's showing off the Black Fly neck cat.
Yeah, that way. Man, you know, shout out to Charlie P, man. Charlie P always been inspirational to me, man. Always been a positive influence and a motivation. Always been somebody I could, you know, vent to and talk to outside the box, and him give me his inside intel on what I should do. And the way that connection came, I mean, you know, Charlie was around since the beginning also. You know, Charlie came in under Street Flavor Records with Haystak and Sunny Paradise when Charlie was just 13, 14 years old. I was around all them. Me and Charlie didn't link up until 2009. We linked up in Chattanooga for the Lil Wyte video with Pete Pitts and Justin Westmoreland. They had a song.
Self-Made Click.
Yeah, Self-Made Click. Yeah. They did a feature with Lil Wyte. I don't know if you remember this or not.
I do remember it.
There was an orange Corvette and a black truck in the video.
Yeah.
All right, those were my whips. You know what I'm saying? Like I brought those whips so they could use them for the video. Charlie was shooting the video. That was really right whenever Charlie had just first started. That was like the second video, I think.
Yeah.
That Black Fly had shot. So me and Charlie linked in Chattanooga, and it was just automatic. You know what I'm saying? I was doing my music. What ended up happening is I ended up pulling Charlie to the side and saying, man, what can I do to help you investment wise? What can I do to, you know what I'm saying, make this Black Fly thing pop? How can I help and how can you help me so I can get my music out and start shooting these videos so people can see these visuals and get this platform going. And you know, we chopped it up, we figured it out, and ended up shooting videos for the next couple of months. Atmosphere, All or Nothing, No Pain, all them videos that came, which are taken down now because the Black Fly channel was taken down by 50 Cent, cease and assisted the channel at the beginning of this year.
That have a lot to do with Young Buck.
Yeah. You already know. Well, the thing is, and shout out to Buck, you know what I'm saying, for staying 10 toes down and making his way and coming back up through there, you know what I'm saying, staying true to himself, even through the trials and tribulations he's been going through. The thing about it is Charlie stayed loyal. You know what I'm saying? Charlie stayed loyal, and 50 wanted Buck's music taken off of the channel. 50 wanted to cease and assist everything Buck was trying to do, and Charlie just wasn't going for it. You know what I'm saying? Charlie wasn't going to be disloyal to Buck and take those videos down. So ultimately, it cost the whole channel. And,
one thing
everybody
about
had to
Charlie
sacrifice.
P is, as behind the scenes Charlie P is, he's one of the most polarizing figures in our community. Agreed.
100. Yeah. And that's because of his loyalty and his work ethic and the way that he keeps it 100, you know what I'm saying, about what's going on and what it does. And, you know, he stays out the mix. He does his own thing. He stays 10 toes down and stays focused on what he's got going on. Yeah. Shout out to Charlie P for sure.
I've only met Charlie P one time. Me and Steve rode up to I want to say it was either Memphis or Nashville, but we was super late. We were both tired as fuck, but we rode up there to meet Charlie P. We go to this like abandoned ass storage unit or something, and we pull up in there and we walk in one of the storage units. It's a fucking full ass studio. Young Buck standing there, everybody's chilling in there vibing, and he was just a super cool dude.
Yeah, where was it at?
I don't remember if it was Memphis or Nashville, but it was like a storage unit.
Yeah. Right next to the store.
Yeah.
It was a store right next to it, like a little bodega.
Yes.
Yeah. That was out there in North Nashville. We had the studio out there on Clarksville Pike.
I walked in, like, you would never expect it to be a studio, but when we walked in, everything was super dope.
Yeah. And that's how we've always moved, man. We've always moved under the radar. You know what I'm saying? We never had like the lavish, studio rollout and everything so everybody can know. We really have kept it like on the low, like it ain't nothing going on over here you want to see, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like got a lot more work done that way. But
yeah, shout out Black Fly, because people don't understand. Black Fly was such a huge platform for artists in our area. Like everybody from the beginning at Self-Made Click all the way to big names like Upchurch the Redneck. Like they helped everybody.
Yeah, for sure. Black Fly Music, man, shot Upchurch's first 10 videos, I think, at least. I don't know if 10's the number. Don't hold me to that. But all his first videos were shot by Black Fly Music and everything like that. Man, one thing that came to my mind while I was sitting talking about memories is when me and Struggle used to jump in the whip and just take off on the weekend and we'd pick a city and go down there, hustle mixtapes, do what we had to do. There was one time I can think of when we was in Biloxi, Mississippi. It was me, Alexander King, and Struggle. and we were all down there moving mixtapes. And you know, when you're out there in the streets, you're gonna have hatred to come along with it. But these people came, started hating, started doing this, and your boy got in the paint. You know what I'm saying? I got in the paint with him down there in Biloxi. You know what I'm saying? We literally was out there fighting, blood, sweat, and tears for this shit. And I can remember that just popped in my mind. I don't know where that came from or why it like popped in my mind just now. I guess reminiscing right now, talking about all this stuff is just kind of like bringing it all back. But yeah, Struggle and me went to Panama City in 2005. That was my first time in Panama City pushing the mixtapes and doing that shit. But ever since then, man, I loved Panama City and like I became a part of that city.
Yeah, we've been going at it for coming up on an hour.
Yeah.
We've been talking about the past a little bit. I definitely want to have you on again and I want to be more prepared and get deeper into the story of Nashvillain, because there's so much shit that I don't know. There's so much shit other people don't know, and it's just that from the outside looking in. So
yeah, for sure.
But,
and I also want people to really understand the transition from how like it happened from Nashvillain to the real Prince Michael, how that transition happened, you know, what it means and what I'm doing now.
Yeah. Before we cut it off, I want to get into what's going on with Nashville and Prince Michael. What's going on right now in his life?
Man, right now, man, we're preparing for the fight with Alexander King, man. This is the fight going on November 27th in Nashville, Tennessee. A lot of these outsiders, man, that have came into this game over the past few years, man, think that they're part of this scene, you know what I'm saying, that was built by us, you know, all these years ago. A lot of these dudes like Adam Calhoun, Hosier, you know, all these dudes, man, like all these dudes like from the outside, they're not even from here, you know, but they want to be part of it so bad. But me and Alex, we're showcasing November 27th in the ring. We're going to be fighting, and we're going to be basically, man, just letting everybody see that if you got a problem with somebody or you got differences with somebody, you can work it out. You know what I'm saying? You can work it out and keep it civil, keep it just. Keep everything on the up and up with each other, because, you know, we might have differences with each other or whatever, but in the end, man, we're all part of this. We all been down, man. We're all family. We're all connected in some kind of way. And at the end of the day, man, it's all love.
Okay. And the last thing I want to ask you before we leave, so somebody like me, somebody like my friend HDR, you know, just came home from 5 years.
Yeah, shout out HDR, yeah.
He just came home from 5 years from Centerville. So it's like he's basically starting over. He's been established in the past, but 5 years is a long fucking time. What kind of advice would you give to artists like me, HDR, Keith Austin, anybody in our local scene that's trying to come up and get a better start than what we already have? What's one piece of advice you'd give to us?
Man, just don't let the static drown you out, man. There's a lot of hatred, a lot of static, a lot of things gonna be you know, set up in your way. You can call them roadblocks, you can call them speed bumps, you can call them hurdles, call them whatever you want to call them. At the end of the day, man, stay true to yourself and your heart, what you feel like is right, and stick to your guns on that, even if the opposition makes you feel like in any kind of way it's not right what you're doing. Just stay true to yourself, man, and keep pushing for yourself, man. At the end of the day, you only have you to answer to, so stay true.
Yeah. All right, man, this has been CONVO-19 with Prince Michael and Georgie Sippin' 40. Keith Austin had some stuff to take care of, so he couldn't make it on this episode. Like I said, we're definitely going to have Prince Michael back whenever he feels like it, when we want to talk about some stuff. We're going to get out of here. Y'all have a blessed day. Stay safe.
Man, I appreciate y'all having me on here. Salute.
Radio check.
Let's do it, baby. Let's do it.
You're now tuned in.
Let's go.
To CONVO-19.
Turn it up.
With Keith Austin and Georgie Sippin' 40.